being a hater, being a bigot in this country is fundamentally un-American.
Ongoing concerns. Why one local rabbi is not surprised by the increased threats against the Jewish community.
Plus, how an extra water supply in Moline could bring more housing to the area and where the expansion could take place.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into News 8's Good Morning Quad Cities at 4:30. I'm Jonathan Katz.
And I'm Angie Sharp. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Eric Sorensen. Good to have you here this morning. It's Thursday.
It
I almost
is
said it's
Thursday.
Wednesday.
That's all right.
Thursday.
Hey, that's a
eve of
good
Friday.
thing. If you think it's Wednesday, it's already Thursday.
I know.
It felt like actually Friday to me because our breakfast with
Yeah.
segment was
Oh, yeah.
yesterday.
Yesterday.
So today I was
So
like, oh, it's Friday.
We're all discombobulated here
Yeah,
this
we are
morning,
because the
guys.
weather has got us all over the place.
Were you outside yesterday?
Yep, you betcha.
Temperatures in the 70s. However, today it will be much different. We're not going to see any record highs. In fact, 42 in Galena now, one of the cooler spots, and we have a wind coming in out of the northwest as well. So that's kind of giving us that cool feel. We've got nothing on the storm tracker just yet, but I think later on this afternoon we will start to see something fall from these clouds, and it will be in the form of rain, guys. A cooler start to the day as those northerly winds lock in. We'll still be in the 50 to 55-degree range, so still pretty nice for this time of year, but more on a cooling trend that takes us into the weekend coming up.
So it's not Friday and it's not May.
And it's
That's
not
true.
Wednesday either.
It's true. Back to February.
All right, thanks, Eric.
All right, getting back on track now. Continuing coverage of a story of the week. First brought to you yesterday, right here on Good Morning Quad Cities. It could be a couple days before a dozen families are back in their homes after a devastating fire in Kewanee. It started shortly after 11 Tuesday night at the Prairie Green Apartments. Smoke and flames were coming out of the building when crews arrived. The entire building was evacuated. Neighbors say it was a community effort to get everyone out safely.
They were busting out the windows. Smoke was coming out. I just was worried about my cousin because I'm about to cry. This was her house.
So I came out and we just started banging on doors trying to get everybody out.
The Red Cross is helping the victims. Investigators say the fire started in one of the units in the middle of the apartment complex.
State negotiators are offering Iowa state workers a new contract that complies with the state's new collective bargaining law. The new law strips away most issues unions can negotiate for workers, except for base pay. The new offer for AFSCME includes a base pay increase of 1%, but the offer has dropped health benefits, sick leave, and work hours. The new contract would take effect July 1st. AFSCME is suing the state over that new law because union leaders claim it's unconstitutional since public safety workers like police and firefighters are exempt from most of the new provisions. That new law may be why some Iowa teachers are looking for new jobs in a border state. School districts in Minnesota are getting applications from Iowa teachers even if they don't have jobs posted. Fairmont is just 11 miles north of the Iowa border. The superintendent there says he welcomes the influx of new teachers. He says the district also benefited when new collective bargaining laws passed in nearby Wisconsin.
Last night, Davenport aldermen looked into a move to combine the work of the Levee Improvement Commission with its Parks Board. Davenport Mayor Frank Klipsch is floating the idea around to combine the two groups into one efficient 11-member advisory board. But supporters of an independent levee commission worry if combined, the levee commission will lose its influence on the riverfront. When it came down to a vote, Mayor Frank Klipsch broke the tie by voting not to table the item, followed by the council's 6-4 vote to move forward.
The way you guys did tonight, you slapped every citizen in this town in the face by not slowing this thing down.
The issue will get 2 more readings before the city council. Then Davenport aldermen will make their final decision to support or reject the merger. Well, the proposed Parks Levee Commission merger is just one move Mayor Frank Klipsch is introducing to streamline Davenport government. The council also voted to move ahead with eliminating its airport commission, River Center, Adler Theater Advisory Board, Commission on Youth, and 3 other commissions.
Those who live in Bettendorf say they're surprised after seeing their 2017 property tax assessments. Here's an example. The owner of this house saw a 23% hike in their assessment from last year. That's a $850 increase. Not everyone saw a dramatic hike, though. City officials say on average, assessments went up around 10%.
The city council could lower its levy that would have some impact. But remember that the city gains funds from the valuations, so the taxes that are levied. So we're certainly going to need to evaluate
Bettendorf homeowners can appeal their assessments through the Scott County Assessor's Office. It's been 10 years since Scott County updated its assessments in Bettendorf.
Moline leaders are looking to get rid of a water surplus. Thanks to high-efficiency toilets and shower heads, people living in Moline are using less water. That's why city leaders are extending water utilities south of the Rock River. Moline purchased 3 farms near the Quad City International Airport, and leaders believe these farms could be the site of up to 500 new homes once water service is in place.
We have all these ravines and hills and valleys and the 2 rivers, so we're literally landlocked east and west, so we can only grow south, and you have to go up the bluff.
The city is also looking to possibly sell some of its excess water to nearby communities like Cole Valley, Silvis, and Milan.
It's now officially illegal to bury a body in your backyard in East Moline. The East Moline City Council approved the recommendation at a meeting on Tuesday. Mayor John Thodo says in a neighboring city, there was a request to bury a loved one in a backyard. That's how he found out that state law allows it. The grave just has to be at least 18 inches deep. So to prevent future issues or questions, the council made an ordinance to not allow backyard graves.
In President Donald Trump's first 100 days in office, President Trump is reversing a transgender bathroom guidance. Says the Obama-era policy allowed transgender students to use the bathroom or locker room that matched their gender identity. The White House didn't offer new guidance, only saying the decision should be left up to the states. Meanwhile, Mexico has vowed to resist the Trump administration's new immigration laws. President Trump's order directs Immigration and Border agents to deport undocumented immigrants with a criminal past. It also calls for the hiring of thousands of immigration officers. It comes as 2 members of President Trump's cabinet members traveled to Mexico yesterday to try and repair the strained relationship between the 2 countries.
The change in refugee policy from the Trump administration means major cuts for a Quad Cities organization. Moline-based World Relief laid off 1/3 of its staff on Tuesday. The cuts come as a direct result of President Trump's executive orders limiting immigration and strengthening border laws. World Relief leaders say the cuts will also cut the amount of refugees coming to the Quad Cities by about half, down to about 100 each year.
Those staff, who have dedicated their lives to loving and caring for the foreigner when they first get here, it's going to be hard for them, and that's going to be hard for us.
World Relief announced the cuts at yesterday's Ronald Reagan Breakfast Club. The Moline office will remain open with 10 employees, but 5 offices across the country are closing. The FBI is still investigating a wave of bomb threats made to Jewish centers around the country.
And police in St. Louis are still trying to figure out who damaged more than 100 headstones at a Jewish cemetery this week. Closer to home, a local rabbi talks with WQAD News 8's Chris Miner about ongoing security concerns here at home.
Are you alarmed? Are you on alert in any way?
I'm always on alert.
Rabbi Henry Karp says the local Jewish community is taking very seriously the more than 50 bomb threats made to Jewish centers around the country since January.
There has been an uptick on hate speech and hate acts during this course of this past year.
The rabbi heads Temple Emmanuel in Davenport, where security in the place of worship is always a priority.
When we hold services, we have an off-duty police officer in uniform and armed.
Every service?
Every service, every worship service.
Karp says security was tightened years ago during a wave of violence nationwide by white supremacists.
We started taking seriously security precautions all the way back in 1999. That summer was known as the Summer of Hate.
This year, he says the election has given some a license to hate.
His whole message of making America great again has been picked up by the racist elements of our society and identified as making America white again.
And says President Trump needs to continue to step up to rebuke the intolerance.
But I think he needs to speak out about hate in general. That being a hater, being a bigot in this country is fundamentally un-American.
In Davenport, Chris Miner, WQAD News 8.
Now, no bombs have been found, but Jewish leaders say they are hesitating to label the threats as a hoax. All right, so to come, right here on Good Morning Quad Cities, a new improvement.
The facility at